This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey. In the U.S., a gunman opened fire at an elementary school in South Texas on Tuesday, killing 14 students and one teacher before the suspect himself died. Governor Greg Abbott told reporters the latest shooting in an epidemic of gun violence at schools in the United States. Abbott said the gunman, identified as 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, apparently was killed by police officers responding to the scene, and that two of those officers were struck by gunfire, though the governor said their injuries were not serious. Authorities said the suspect acted alone. Official details on the circumstances of the midday shooting remain sketchy in the immediate aftermath of the violence, which unfolded at Robb Elementary School in the town of Uvalde, Texas, about 80 miles west of San Antonio.
He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher.
Governor Abbott adding,
the shooter was Salvador Ramos, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle.
U.S. President Joe Biden plans to address the nation about the shooting at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the White House said. The Texas rampage is the latest in a series of mass shootings in U.S. schools that have shocked the world and fueled a fierce debate between advocates of tighter gun control and those who oppose legislation that could compromise the rights of Americans to bear arms. The shooting in Texas is one of the deadliest at a U.S. school since a gunman killed 26 people, including 20 children, in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut in December 2012. This is VOA News. Russia and China on Tuesday flew bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons over the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea while U.S. President Joe Biden was in Tokyo. It was the first joint military exercise by the two countries since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. More from VOA's chief national correspondent, Steve Herman, in Washington.
State Department spokesman Ned Price says the Chinese-Russian joint military patrol with strategic bombers was likely planned well in advance of the U.S. president's trip to Asia.
Beijing's decision to cooperate with Moscow in this way, amid Russia's further invasion of Ukraine and the Kremlin's dangerous nuclear rhetoric, demonstrates the quote-unquote no-limits partnerships that they talked about in their joint communique.
In Tokyo, the government says it believes the aerial drill was timed to make it more provocative than in the past, while the leaders of Japan, the United States, Australia, and India were meeting in the Japanese capital. Steve Herman, VOA News, Washington.
The EU accused Russia Tuesday of using food as a weapon to blackmail poorer countries. For VOA, Lisa Bryant reports from Paris.
Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen accused Moscow of weaponizing food security, as she says it has with energy exports.
In Russian-occupied Ukraine, the Kremlin's army is confiscating grain stocks and machinery. Today, Russia's artillery is bombarding grain warehouses in Ukraine.
The European Union says the bloc is largely food self-sufficient, although the Ukraine war has bumped up food and fertilizer prices. The poorest countries and their people are feeling the biggest hit. Ukraine and Russia count among the world's top exporters of grains and cooking oil.
Bread prices in Lebanon have increased by 70%, and food shipments from Odessa could not reach Somalia.
Moscow blames the food crisis on Western sanctions against it, with Russia blockading Ukraine's ports that once exported 90% of Kyiv's goods. European agricultural ministers were meeting Tuesday to discuss land options. Ukrainian officials say land routes can only export a fraction of the goods. Meanwhile, EU member state Lithuania has proposed a non-military naval coalition to protect Ukrainian grain exports by sea as a humanitarian mission. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
Recapping our top story, in the U.S., a gunman opened fire at an elementary school in South Texas on Tuesday, killing 14 students and one teacher before the suspect himself died, Governor Greg Abbott told reporters. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey.